So we've had a stream of Democrats up here telling us that the president's speech was just terrific and there's all this opportunity to work together. But how did you view this from a Republican standpoint? You're from Florida. Immigration reform.
Well, first of all, how did I view it is that it was one executive order after another, and I think that, boy, I mean, his audience is members of Congress, senators, maybe for everybody else that sounds, all right, but to say, if you don't do it, I'm going to do it. If you don't do it, I'm going to do it. I'm going to take care of it. It just didn't set the right tone. So I'm glad that he didn't talk so much about immigration, because every time he talks about it, it has not been helpful. It is blaming the Republicans, and then the executive order part of his speech tells a lot of Republicans, what does it matter what we do on immigration? He's going to change the law. So it's a little, I think, deflating of the enthusiasm that we hope to get on the Republican side to get immigration reform done.
Is there something he could have said, though, that the Republicans would have said, yes, what a great idea, let's go for that?
The less said, the better. So I'm glad that he just said a few lines, and he did not say that he was going to do it through executive order, because that he said it enough during this speech. We didn't need to hear it again on immigration.
What's the minimum wage in Florida right now?
Well, it just went up. Not enough. We know that it's tough. Nobody's saying that the minimum wage is right where it should be. The president is right. People are working. It's the working poor. And how is it possible that you could work full time and still be considered poor? So we understand that it's the nice thing to talk about a raising of the minimum wage, but you can't put all of these demands on small businesses all the time and not expect small businesses to say, maybe I'm not going to hire 5 workers, I'm just going to hire 3. And the president believes that that's not going to happen, but we have seen it in communities that it does happen. So we think increasing minimum wage is always a very good thing. We just had a little bit of an increase in Florida. It's not enough. It's great to say you're going to be Santa Claus all the time, but that bill is going to come in the mail, and it's going to mean less jobs for Florida.
So if this were a bill that were on the floor tomorrow, you would vote against it?
I wouldn't say yes, I would vote for it, or yes, I would vote against it. Let's see what the environment is like. What I want is less regulation, less taxes. Talk about how small businesses can grow, and not about more regulations and more mandates from Washington. Let's see what we can do to help small businesses and not tell them how to run their business.
Obviously, you're very involved in foreign policy. You've been here a long time. He put a pretty tough line there saying he would veto an Iran sanctions bill.
Well, it's good to be tough, but tough on despots in Iran. It's not great to be tough on a Congress that wants to pass a sanctions bill. That's not being tough. That's being, and he says it's through diplomacy that Iran is negotiating. Heck no, as Joe Biden would say, malarkey. It's only through tough economic sanctions that Iran is negotiating, and only through tougher sanctions yet will they continue to negotiate, because this is a bad deal, and I don't think that it's diplomacy, but pressure, and only pressure will keep them from doing even worse in Iran.
So we've heard a lot this year about women, or in the last 2 years, about women in Congress. The president said, when women cede, America succeeds. Numbers here in Congress are not really reflective of America. I mean, do you think women have really the ability to advance the ball here?
Absolutely. I think, again, trying to do decree from the top down and say equal pay for equal work and all those kind of buzzwords that sound great don't really reflect the marketplace and letting free enterprise work. So we look at businesses differently, and we look at markets differently. I don't think that the president has ever met a payroll or had to balance the books in a business, and I think it shows with the way that he views the employment situation and markets in America. So women are making great strides, and it's because we're amazing. You know, what can't we do? But I don't think that you should impose a lot of his dogma on society. Everything will work out. You can't discriminate. Nobody's saying that. That's when the courts have something to say. That's when we need that kind of protection. But to impose price controls on a free market economy, I think is wrong.
Was there anything you heard tonight that you would say, yes, that should be a law by the time we have the midterm elections in November?
It just depends on how you do it. Pre-K education, I'm a former teacher, that's a great thing too, but the price tag is overbearing. I mean, it's just, we just can't keep creating new programs that we can't pay for. So nobody wants to be the skunk at the picnic. I'm sure you heard from everybody saying all of these programs are great. We don't have the money, we're broke. 17 I mean, how big is that debt, and are we going to keep adding to it? So let's get real, let's get serious, let's not keep promising that we're Santa Claus. We're not.
Thank you so much. Congresswoman Ileana Ros-Lehtinen from Florida, Republican, joined us here at rollcall.com for our live stream. Thanks so much.